In a dramatic escalation that has sent shockwaves across Southeast Asia, Thailand has reportedly launched airstrikes on Cambodia's border region. The world is watching as tensions between these two neighboring countries, long simmering beneath the surface, have now erupted into open conflict. The skies above the dense forests and rural villages near the Thailand-Cambodia border were pierced by the roar of fighter jets, and the ground shook with the force of explosions. This is not just another border skirmish, this is a turning point that could reshape the region's future. As news of the airstrikes broke, anxiety swept through communities on both sides of the border. In bustling city centers and quiet rural towns alike, people gathered around televisions and smartphones desperate for updates. The uncertainty is palpable. Families worry about loved ones, business owners fear for their livelihoods, and ordinary citizens wonder what tomorrow will bring. Are you worried about how this could spiral? Here's what you need to know to understand the gravity of the situation and what might come next. The border between Thailand and Cambodia has always been a tense and heavily militarized zone, but recent events have pushed it to the brink. In the days leading up to the airstrikes, there were reports of increased troop movements, with both Thai and Cambodian soldiers reinforcing their positions along the disputed frontier. The Preah Vihear area, a region already infamous for its history of violent clashes, became the epicenter of this latest crisis. Eyewitnesses described tense standoffs, with soldiers from both sides staring each other down, weapons at the ready, as the world held its breath. According to Thai officials, the decision to launch limited airstrikes was made in response to a deadly border skirmish that left several Thai soldiers dead and others wounded. The Thai military claims that Cambodian forces fired first, targeting a Thai patrol near the disputed Preah Vihear temple, a centuries-old site that has been a flashpoint for decades. In the aftermath of the airstrikes, images emerged of damaged Cambodian outposts, smoke rising near the ancient temple, and soldiers picking through the rubble. The Thai government insists that the strikes were precise and targeted only military positions, but the Cambodian side tells a different story. Cambodia has responded with outrage, condemning the airstrikes as a blatant violation of its sovereignty and a dangerous act of aggression. In an emergency press conference, Cambodian officials accused Thailand of escalating the conflict and called on the international community to intervene. The Cambodian government has already submitted formal complaints to the United Nations, urging the Security Council to take immediate action to prevent further violence. The Cambodian flag now flies at half-mast at government buildings, a symbol of national mourning and defiance in the face of what they see as an unprovoked attack. The human cost of this conflict is already being felt. Over 3,000 civilians have reportedly evacuated villages along the border, fleeing their homes in fear of further violence. Families have packed what little they can carry, loading onto crowded trucks and buses in a desperate bid for safety. Temporary shelters have sprung up in nearby towns where aid workers are struggling to provide food, water, and medical care to the growing number of refugees. For many, this is not the first time they have been forced to flee. The cycle of conflict and displacement has become a tragic part of life in this troubled region. The impact of the fighting extends far beyond the immediate conflict zone. Schools in Cambodian border villages have been shut down indefinitely, leaving thousands of children without access to education. Aid organizations are rushing to deliver supplies, but the situation on the ground is chaotic and dangerous. Markets that once bustled with cross-border trade now stand empty, and trucks loaded with goods are stranded at closed checkpoints. The economic fallout is severe. Trade worth billions of dollars has ground to a halt, threatening the livelihoods of countless families on both sides of the border. To truly understand why this conflict has erupted, we need to look back at the long and complicated history of the Preah Vihear temple and the surrounding territory. In 1962, the International Court of Justice ruled that the temple itself belonged to Cambodia, but the land around it remained a source of bitter dispute. Over the decades, both countries have laid claim to the area, and periodic clashes have erupted whenever tensions flare. The temple, perched dramatically atop a cliff, is not just a religious and cultural symbol. It is a powerful reminder of the unresolved grievances and national pride that fuel this ongoing conflict. The border itself is poorly demarcated, with maps from the colonial era offering little clarity. This ambiguity has allowed both sides to interpret the boundary in ways that suit their interests, leading to frequent accusations of encroachment and provocation. For the people living in the shadow of the temple, the dispute is not just about lines on a map, it is about identity, history, and the right to call a piece of land home. In the wake of the airstrikes, both the Thai and Cambodian militaries have been placed on the highest state of alert. Soldiers man sandbag positions along the border, their eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of movement. In the capitals of both countries, nationalist sentiment is on the rise. Protesters have taken to the streets in Bangkok and Phnom Penh, waving flags and demanding that their government stand firm. Military leaders hold tense briefings, warning that any further provocation could lead to a full-scale war. The atmosphere is electric, charged with fear, anger, and uncertainty. The rhetoric from both governments has grown increasingly heated, with each side accusing the other of aggression and refusing to back down. Social media is awash with patriotic messages, rumors, and calls for unity. In this climate, the prospects for peace talks seem dim. Diplomats from both countries have met behind closed doors, but so far there has been little progress. The risk of miscalculation is high, and the consequences could be catastrophic. The crisis has not gone unnoticed by the wider region. Experts warn that if the conflict escalates further, it could draw in powerful neighbors such as China and Vietnam, both of whom have strategic interests in Southeast Asia. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, has called for an emergency summit to address the situation, but divisions within the bloc make a unified response difficult. Military analysts caution that the presence of foreign warships and military vehicles in the region could further complicate an already volatile situation. The world is watching closely, aware that what happens here could have far-reaching implications for peace and stability across Asia. International organizations, including the United Nations and the International Red Cross, have issued urgent appeals for restraint and humanitarian access. The fear is that a prolonged conflict could trigger a refugee crisis, disrupt trade routes, and destabilize neighboring countries. The stakes could not be higher. Amid the chaos, there are still voices calling for peace. Diplomatic efforts are underway, with envoys from both Thailand and Cambodia meeting in neutral locations to try and find a way forward. The international community is urging restraint, and there is hope that cooler heads will prevail. But the path to peace is fraught with obstacles. Deep-seated mistrust, historical grievances, and the ever-present risk of further violence. Is this the start of a wider conflict? Or can diplomacy pull both sides back from the edge? Only time will tell, but the coming days will be critical. We want to hear from you. How do you think this crisis will unfold? What should the international community do to help prevent further bloodshed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more breaking news and in-depth analysis on this and other major stories from around the world. Stay safe, stay informed, and keep watching as we continue to bring you the latest updates on this developing situation.